Welcome to the Experts Podcast, where we take you behind the scenes of what it really means to be in the media. Featuring interviews with media-stable experts and some of Australia's prominent media. We'll break down some of the myths, the fears, the skills and the knowledge needed to succeed in the media. The Experts Podcast is for the business owner, communicator, PR professional, leader of industry, or anyone looking to develop their profile to be a recognised expert. The Experts Podcast is powered by MediaStable. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of the podcast, the Experts Podcast. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what we call it.
Braidwood. Yeah.
Nice to see you, Nick.
Nice to see you. We got the reason we're getting a little nervous because we've got other podcasters here in the studio.
Oh, you're getting a bit of comparisonitis, are you?
Well, no, I was listening to theirs I've been listening to theirs for a little while, and it's like they've got quite a little. They get it. They do it pretty well together.
They know what they're doing. Yeah. And you and I, brand new team. A few teething issues.
We've been doing it for years, though, Carms. We've been doing it for years. Yeah, we're doing it. Hey, we are talking to the C word, the podcast. Carla and Cal, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.
So what's the C word?
Yeah. Because can I just put it straight up?
What's the big reveal?
Yeah, because the C word is the word that I tell my children you're never ever to use. Yeah. But you're playing on that.
Yeah, we are. Carla, Cal, community, collaboration. There were so many different words. I mean, but just your imagination, guys. Whatever you would like.
That obviously came to mind, and we thought that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did definitely. Carla and Cal, and then it just once the name had come up, we were like, "There's nothing else." That was it. Yeah,
and CCs as well. They're great.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, CC and dry. And I can tell you, just after talking to a grey area professional drinker or expert, it's that won't be talked about in this one.
No.
And with you too, because your whole podcast and your background, it's all about health. It's all about well-being. It's looking after yourselves. How did you two come together to build this podcast?
Well, I had a activewear label, a female activewear label called Fearless, and this was about 5 years ago. And
he needed someone else to wear it instead of him.
Yes.
Well,
from the modelling.
Probably helped.
Yeah.
Probably helped.
Understand.
Yeah. And Carla's expertise in regards to obviously wellness and the website I had at the time, I wanted to bring on more of a blog. Okay. And I reached out to Carla and we got talking, and then we talked a lot, and we thought, well, let's do a podcast because then we can actually record it.
Yeah, that was basically it. We're like, we talk really. Oh, what's the swear word thing on here?
No, you let us swear.
We were like, we talk a lot of good shit. Like this needs to be recorded, and people need to hear it.
That's right.
Well, this is so true, isn't it? That the stuff we just say innately, natural, is actually the best content. And I know from experience, when you meet people who get media, they suddenly go, oh, no, I can't do the same stuff I do on my podcast. But it's in fact the opposite. We want to hear the good shit all the time.
Yeah, and we actually say that, like, if we get a guest on and we start having a conversation before we press the record button, we're like, hang on. Stop. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, don't let all that get out.
No.
Don't say all that
Don't
off.
let the good stuff go to waste.
That's right. That's right.
Now, your last episode that you left with us as you were rounding up for your Christmas last year, good work on the jingle bells there, Carla. It was very different to the ones that you normally do with you interviewing a guest. But what I really found interesting with the both of you is you do have a good rapport. You sort of understand and work with each other and know pretty much what you're looking to do. You don't do a lot of research around that too, because I would imagine that's just you both being natural and authentic and just riffing, because that's the way it felt and it just sounded good.
Yeah, I mean, we always wanted to base the podcast around having guests in, because the whole purpose was, we said there's no one in Perth that's showcasing and highlighting all the amazing local businesses and experts, and that included the fact we were part of that, that, and we had so many awesome people in our circle and support, so we wanted to be able to get them on and give them a platform. And podcasts, we started in 2019, so there wasn't as many. It was just sort of starting to take off. But we did want, I think our first episode was like 15 minutes of us just sort of introducing ourselves. And the first time you would know when you get on a microphone or you do a podcast, then you hear yourself back and you're like, oh my God. But then the following sort of the end of year and then the following 2 years, we wanted to round out the years of just being me and Cal, so people actually got to get to know, well, you know, a bit more about where we are at now and our thoughts and have a chat. So that was really nice for us too, to finish 2021 like that.
Yeah, and I think as well, like we obviously want people to hear us and what we do and what we talk about, what we preach, you know, just talking about within ourselves, you know, what our goals are, what we want to achieve, what this year brought us. You know, I guess the things that didn't happen and didn't work, like we make mistakes, we don't always achieve goals, you know, and things get in the way. And, you know, I guess that's kind of what we wanted to achieve out of that as well, is like people say we are real people. We're not, you know, trying to promote that we're, you know, goody two shoes or whatever it may be. We're actually real, and like things don't work out. So
it's the storytelling piece.
Yeah.
You know, it's that opportunity for your loyal listeners who get great value from you week in, week out to get the backstory and know, you know, who's Cal and who's Carla and what really makes these two tick. So a great thing to be doing and to change it up a bit. So what have been the benefits of being content makers for each of your business and brands and profiles?
I think first of all, just being authentic. I think that's sort of who we are. And like from my end with fitness, there's so much out there, right? There's so much social media. Like if you follow, there's always someone involved with fitness doing something in that regard, fitness and health, that, you know, you try and find ways that you kind of can stand out, but not trying to be something you're not. You know, in some respects. So, you know, I tend to take the funny side out of fitness and be more with the person, like what they're actually really thinking when they're in a gym and things like that. So for me, that's kind of how I approach it, because it's so true. Like I'm involved with F45, so the amount of people that walk in off the street, I may have never walked into a gym before. You know, they're going to be intimidated, but they're also going to do something and go, geez, I look stupid doing that. Surely I look stupid. And then you kind of go, well, yeah, you probably do, but it's actually quite funny, because that's what everyone goes through. Like if you don't put it out there and show the real, like this is what you experience. Sure. Don't feel like you're stupid. Like everyone goes through it. So.
Now F45, describe that to us, because that is that sort of is that circuit style workouts where it's intense and you just go from one to the other to the other.
Yeah. And it's a cult.
I can already see Nick sweating.
It's just the heavy lights.
The thought of it.
Just the lights, and I am your before. This is what you've got to work with. As you can see, I do listen to your podcast so often, yet not enough. But it is a fairly intense sort of thing. But what you just described there is actually something that's really important, is that, you know, when you do that, and all you do see with these fitness people on social media is that they're all fit and healthy.
Perfection.
And looking fantastic.
Intimidation,
But we can't get there because we're too worried about what others will think, because we're just beginning. But if everyone's gone through it, then it gives us the license or the opportunity to get down there.
Exactly. I think ultimately, you know, everything we see on social media is perfect, right? Yeah. And it kind of has to be, because that's the perception of social media. People are watching that you want to like. So if it's not perfect, then people aren't going to like it. They're going to go to the next one. But, you know, the problem that we have is, and I have an issue with it with marketing. Like F45 did it initially at the start. It was all perfect bodies with their marketing. But we don't get a shirtless bloke walking in with a six-pack off the street. Like we get Joe Bloggs who's just looking to get himself moving, get off the couch, whatever it may be. So like the marketing of fitness for us, or for F45, or how I see it, is, you know, it should be just everyday people.
Accessible.
You know? Yeah, exactly. And that takes away the intimidation, because straight away they walk in and go, geez, you know, like I can't do that. I'm not that fit. But it's not about that. It's just about getting in and starting.
You know what the F45, the appealing factor is? It's just the 45.
Yeah.
It's the 45 minutes.
Yeah, convenient.
That should be convenience.
Yeah.
That should be what's selling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think a lot of that is because obviously nowadays we're so, you know, time poor, and we just want to get in and get out and feel like we got to work out so that we can get on with our day. And I think that's sort of been the real selling element with F45. And we find that, everyone's just in, you know, hey guys, let's do a stretch. No, sorry, I got to go, mate. Let's see you later, type of thing. So we do know that people are time poor, and they want to feel like they get value for their money. So, yeah.
And podcast takes time to create. The guests take time to find, Carla. So have there been it's been worth it for your business?
Yeah, I mean, I think with any sort of new area that you venture down or path, you're going to pick up new skills. So, you know, for me, that's definitely been, more in terms of, I think, just the networking, the relationship building, understanding how to put together, the research side of things, and just not that I spend, loads of hours, but you take your time to sort of know what they're about and sort of put some basic questions, we always do, towards it. But for me, professionally, I've either known people or met so many wonderful people that we've had on the podcast that it may have gone on to some sort of a relationship, be it business or be it just a great friendship and personal relationship, or a new community that I've joined. One of the examples I always use is that, we had the two guys who started the Cold Nips, movement together in 2020. I ended up, that's the thing, I grew so close to that community. We were so tight over the initial COVID in 2020. That's been a part of my life now because I had them on.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's those types of things that I think, it overruns necessarily the reward or the expectations. We never went into it with we want to have this many listeners and followers and all the rest. It was something that we just felt passionate about, and it was almost like a side track from our everyday work where you did focus on those things and we could just enjoy it. And the results, and us still being here into our 4th year, was definitely not something we would have thought of when we started.
No, and it's the most common question I get about making your own content is, well, how do you make money out of it? Is it really worth it? People want to see that immediate ROI. And I'm always trying to remind content creators that unless you've got a genuine natural curiosity for that thing and you're excited about it and you want other people to enjoy the benefits, it's not worth it anyway. You aren't going to make money from it.
No, the joy aspect is huge. And I, with my boundaries in place, but I quite enjoy, so I do like most of the social media side of things, but that's because I quite like putting content together, and I like being a bit creative. And you'll notice that our wording is like really cheeky. We always play on the C word where we can in other ways, and that side's enjoyable. But I think because there's no constant thought of outcome in my mind. Do you know what I mean? It's like, did we enjoy it? Does that sound like us? Was that great? Do we do justice hopefully to the guest and the writing? Cool, we're happy.
Yeah.
And then everything else sort of just comes from it.
But it does take time. It takes energy, and also a couple of dollars would be good if it's supported. I heard you, Cal, last one say 100K. If you got a spare 100K, come and get involved, mate. If you got 100K, you come and chat to us at the Experts Podcast. That's what you do. But it does. Yeah. It is consuming. But you've got to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, two things are going to happen here. One, the audience works it out pretty quickly that these two don't actually enjoy chatting to each other because it's just a job. And two, you wouldn't just get up there and do it because you guys have got busy lives. You've got your own businesses rolling and everything like that. To come together to do that, you've got to be enjoying it.
Yeah. I think that's probably what's kept us going, really, is the fact that,
Carla just loves my company.
Yeah.
Can't
I can't wait for Fridays. But I think, I think we have the same sort of, banter, and, we kind of, we're in this, obviously the same area in terms of, health and wellness, and it was always someone that we meet and that we're always connected with. And like Carla said, you always get someone on, and then that's not just like, oh, thanks for coming on, see you later. It's like, let's connect, let's do something, let's catch up, let's, businesses together, whatever it may be. And I think, we just find that it's a great way to finish off the week. Yeah. We have a chat with someone, we have a laugh, and then, awesome. That's great.
Yeah, you learn a lot, and you would know you change and evolve so much as people and as businessmen and women as we have, and we've watched over time. And we obviously have chats that are we talk about what's going on in life and all the rest of it as well. And I think that's really nice, and it's really important. And as Carl said, a big part of what's kept us here as well. We have a very brother sister like relationship, I suppose. But yes, obviously the other side of it is the sponsorship. And for us, the mutual benefit was really important too. So when we started to sort of reach out or put out there, we're looking for sponsors, it was a very low, cost or, low investment, but it was also about the opportunity being there again for the small businesses, the local ones who don't have a big marketing budget. And, we are their ideal platform. We've got their audience,
Sure.
We're based in Perth. maybe you're not a fit for a guest, or we've already kind of covered that, but look, this is a way that you can support us and we can also get the message out there for you. And that hasn't, really changed. Ideally, we'd love for it to still be, local businesses, just with a bigger budget.
It's got to grow.
Yeah, that's okay.
We love budgets. We all love budgets. Now, Carla, you're starting to get some traction with media. I saw you and Ashley Jade finishing off the Pulse. Do you realise that was the last Pulse that was ever done?
I just heard. I saw her outside before, and I was like, "What?
Yeah,
just made it.
You just made it in.
Well done."
You killed the Pulse.
that wasn't the assumption.
We'll finish there.
Quick cardiac arrest here. It's gone. The Pulse. We've got no Pulse.
No, they're like, we can't top that. That's why.
Well, yes, drop mic moment. But you're doing a bit, and I hear on radio as well, you're getting a bit of traction. Well, what's that been like?
That's been really exciting. I think like a lot of people, well, we talked about this on our last episode. I always like to use the summer and the time off to really kind of go, what do I need this year to look like, personally, professionally, to be excited about it. And I'll be honest, like I was having a bit of a struggle coming out of New Year. I just didn't want to get into the year. And I was like, right, I need to fix this. I'm not someone that's ever going to go to work and just be happy to go to work in exchange for time and money.
Sure.
I need purpose and I need excitement. And that was about getting really clear on what I wanted to do and what I needed to change and add in order to feel challenged and to grow this year. And that was it for me. I was like, well, media, I think the podcast has definitely slowly led me into that way. And just being ambassadorship for things, you just start to get comfortable in front of the camera, whether it's for video or photo and speaking. And so I was like, yeah, that's my challenge. That's where I want to go, and start doing more of that. So that's been really exciting for me, because again, straight away, it's not about the money or anything like that. You're doing it right now for the experience, for the learning, for the connecting, and wherever that leads, I trust it. That's the great thing. I just go, whatever opportunities come, wherever it goes this year, I trust it to just happen.
Yeah, that's the old if you're not getting nervous at work anymore, it's time for a new job, or to do something that gets you really out of that comfort zone. And I don't mean negative kind of nerves. I'm talking about that nervous excitement. You really want to kind of care about the outcome of stuff when you turn up to run your business or when you go to work each day. And going on the media, it's one of the last few things that'll give you that rush, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think with what you both are doing with the podcast is that natural progression. You're taking it and learning and understanding how you guys work and operate as broadcasters, and now going to another level where you're talking to another audience and how that might fit in. And I think that's quite exciting, because I think you've got all the skills to do that, whereas some people come in it from the other end got no skills, no understanding of audience, get it completely wrong, and don't get any further. So it's hats off to you. We're waiting for the C word to come back, and by the time this does go back to air, I understand that you've got a recording on Friday. What's your setup for your podcast, and how you prepare and look for experts and audiences to talk to? Is it who does all that? How much prep goes into it? Look at Carla putting her hand up straight away, and we do have a video of this now, Carla. So you're now officially on record doing that. You're doing all the work.
Oh, look, no, I shouldn't say that. I think...
Sorry, Cal.
No, we had, it was, I think, and this is what's great about our relationship as well. We can have those honest sit-downs where we're like, I'm not happy with this, or I'm feeling this, and vice versa. Cal was like, I can't go on unless we start to change things here. I need, for us to evolve in, this direction. And I had to get out of my little box and go, oh, okay, let's start looking at that. And, vice versa. I was like, dude, I'm under the pump with all of this, I need a bit of help here. And he was like, I didn't realise, so that's been really great with us. As far as I think the time in it goes, look, it's always going to take a few hours of your week, whether that's, the actual podcast, the getting some notes together, and, finding guests. But I think now compared to when we started, when you begin a podcast, you really need to pump them out. You've got to start getting a following, your regular listeners and all of that. Now I think we feel okay that, if we record 2 episodes in a month or in 4 weeks, we're okay with that. That's a good place we're at, because our business lives are busier than they were when we started.
Sure.
And we have the ability now, I think, to be are we just getting guests on, or do we make sure it's quality, or we're really interested in that topic? You know, we want to learn about it, or we want them to have that platform to have their say.
Is it a bit restrictive, though, just dealing in that health and sort of holistic health type approach? Because you can sort of already, the candle can burn down pretty quick.
Yeah, and I think in Perth especially, and I think that's kind of what we spoke about. Initially, we were like, let's get this person on, let's get, every man and his dog on. But I think we definitely looked at it and go, well, for mine, we've got a personal trainer on. If we get another personal trainer on, they've got to be doing something that's like, completely unique and to what's going on, that we're doing.
Yeah.
I think we've started to look a bit more like, okay, if we're going to talk about Perth, if we're going to promote locally Perth, let's sort of broaden our horizons and go more lifestyle and what's coming up and events, things like that. Because I think then, again, we open up to a different audience, but then we get more opportunity to have consistent guests coming on. And I think as well, like the audience that we have are heavily involved in the Perth lifestyle. So they want to know a little bit more about what's going on. It might be an event, it might be, like obviously fringe, things like that, but I guess tying it back to, I guess why we do the podcast. But
all
again,
speaks to wellness to me. I think that
Yeah.
the way we spend our time in general all contributes to our wellness. You can definitely get over the line.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. What's the hallmark of a great podcast guest for you guys?
someone who can talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
It does help.
Ever been dudded by the odd guest who gets there and you're like, wow, they can't talk?
We've had a couple where we've had to, pull it out, or it's been very, question, answer. Most of the time, they're either been people that we've known, or just through the interaction you've had on email or your socials, you kind of get, they're going to be your kind of person, on the topic. So we haven't had too much trouble, but there's only probably been a few where we've been a bit like,
yeah, I think it's like,
My
next
face is on
question.
that
No, I think ultimately, like on social media, they're obviously, you see a lot, they do a lot, but then when you get them in, and for some of them, it's their first podcast.
Yeah.
And we were kind of sort of not sure
we
why.
broke a lot of podcast cherries last year.
Well done.
A year of popping the
Yeah.
podcast cherry.
And
yeah.
you also note that when you do invite someone in for a podcast, they're all nervous.
Yeah.
They've normally got either
Yeah.
very good business sense, or they've got confidence at another level. This is breaching into your area, Carmen. Is that, but all of a sudden when they're sitting in the chair for a podcast, and I've seen some of the biggest businessmen sit in that very chair, Carla, and go, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I'm talking broadcasters as well.
Yeah.
And I will name them. I won't name them because I know they listen. But, they are genuinely nervous because they're not used to talking about themselves.
Yeah.
This
Yep.
is something that it's not natural
Yep.
for them to do, because they're going, I'm an expert in my space or what I do, but you're actually asking me questions about me.
Yep.
And that's when it gets personal, they start to get all nervous. And that's when I find the best stories come out of it.
Yeah, and I think that's what we found is a lot more people relax, into the chair and just kind of feel like, okay, I'm just having a general conversation here. I'm not being sort of peppered with, what's your budget for next year and, all this sort of stuff. It's like, well, tell us why you started. Like, why did you get into this? And how's it changed your life? And once that starts to open up, it's amazing what kind of comes out from them.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and that's the thing too, like even I've had not many, but you have a few guests over the years that have been like, will you be sending me through any prep questions and things like that? And I say, well, no, not really. I mean, the basics are going to be everything that you know about. It's all related to you and your business and everything, but we want the conversation to flow and understand that we're not looking for like a seminar style, podcast recording. We want conversation. And so I think once they sit with us, and from the get-go, we would have cracked a joke within 5 minutes to each other of, less than that, 5 seconds of walking into the room. They start to understand. We're playful, and if they listen to us, they'll understand. And we've had a lot of guests who've said like, we want to be on because we listen and you guys are fun with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of giggled a little about the preparation
Oh.
because it's not my strength. It's not my strength. I know you guys, and from afar and watching from afar, and to your point earlier, Cal, you've seen them, on socials and stuff like that. And Carla, what you said around, you might not know them extremely well, but you sort of get a sense of it. But too much over preparation, I can't even say the word.
Yeah, ruins it.
Yeah.
Ruins the vibe.
the thing though with the podcast, and I'd love for our listeners to understand what it takes to put one together. You talked a little bit about identifying guests, etc. But if you were to give hints and tips to people that are looking to put together a podcast, because everyone seems to be doing it right now. Everyone seems to be wanting to get one together, and I can tell you, they don't all sound good.
No. And it's not easy.
And if you don't get the foundations right and get it going, you don't get past episode 7. And you guys now, what, episode 84, 85?
We'll be doing 87 this Friday.
Wow.
Congrats.
Well done.
Thank you.
So what are the tips you give to someone looking to do a podcast, other than obviously the great, banter that you have between each other?
Look, I think when we started, to be honest, we sat down. I had a comms manager at the time, and we probably need it because, again, we're our business skills personally, right? If we're starting now, we could probably do it on our own, but at that point, we wanted an outside person to sit in and, I guess, put together a plan and start to go, what are we about? What are some key words? What's our audience? I'm losing the word I'm looking for.
Structure, a plan.
Yeah.
A podcast plan.
A format for your show?
Oh God, it'll come to me. I'll call you guys when I'm done with this.
Yeah.
We're like, guys,
That's
I've
right.
got it. So we did have all of that, and then we're like, right, we need some shots, and we need to get an Instagram account started. But we had an idea of what we were about and what was our focus point. So from there, it was like, okay, well, who are some of our ideal guests that we'd like to invite on, and that fit in that. And we went to our warm market first. The friends that we'd built in the industry and that we wanted to have on. And it was literally just about reaching out. And a lot of them just wanted to do it because it was fun, it was different, and they knew us.
Didn't you do them in the back of cars? Didn't you do some promos in the back seats of cars?
that was our COVID carpool karaoke.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Check it out, guys. It was a good one.
Yeah, entertainment mechanics and things are rolling out, good broadcasting techniques.
We were bored.
Yeah.
We were very bored.
Good wardrobe, though. I thought wardrobe was good.
Yeah, we needed to do. I mean, we were still podcasting, but it was we could be in the studio, but the guests were on phone, and that took away so much of what we loved about it.
Sure.
But obviously in our everyday lives, you had the gym clothes and stuff, and I was at home all the time because there's nowhere to go, and we were just bored, and it was fun.
Yeah, it was. And I think ultimately that kind of set us up really. We had that moment. We talk about COVID, for us, COVID was probably a good thing as well because it made us think about how do we keep people engaged? If we can't necessarily have, an individual in the studio, how do we keep them engaged? How do we make us, look like we're not so serious? It's, we're just having a bit of fun. And I think that video did help, and it kind of, relaxed us a little bit more as well to sort of find out who our real sort of audience and followers were at the time, so that, we've had a bit of fun with it, and I think that's the good thing about it.
Yeah. But, between doing that and then, getting the guest organised, booking the studio, putting in the notes, we're figuring out our times as well. And then if you are getting sponsors, then it's getting that organised, getting the spiel together, your time in there. We never, the social media, to be honest, is probably what takes up a lot of time as well.
Yep.
And
people underestimate that. Across everything. We had Ashley Jade on a couple of weeks ago, and the idea comes. You raised it very early. You don't do any work. Because the perception that someone who works in that space just doesn't do any work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's just that, it might not be financial costing to because it's your own time, but the time that you put into it. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And I know how much work you put into it, Carmen.
I do. Yeah. And I've realised that you can't afford to take on too many projects. And I had a crack at a podcast, but I didn't tell anyone about it. I failed at the marketing behind it in terms of
You had a party.
I had a party for 30 people or something, and that helped. Don't get me wrong. But I think I didn't do that consistent marketing afterwards because I didn't have the time to do it anymore. And I totally underestimated the amount of social media support I needed to give it.
Yep.
Not letting the same thing happen with the Experts podcast.
No.
Yeah.
And that part we're doing really well because now we've got to get other people to do it for us as well, which is it's important if you've got that ability to do it.
But I think that's the thing. And when we started out, thank goodness I actually had the time. I was doing stuff with Brooks social club community. So and I was, I'm not a social media expert, so that was really helpful in learning what's going on. you know, we had sort of time to build it. Now we probably don't put as much time. Like when an episode goes up, cool, but I'm not fussed if there's no stories for a few days and things like that. And, you know, because like you said, the time that it takes, and it does take away from if you're busy in your other business and it's, you know, unpaid work. But it's an important part of it, and that's our only platform to, sort of get out, I guess, to our audience and let them know there's a new episode and the rest. And look, it is fun, you know, to a degree. I do enjoy putting all the wording together. And
Well, you can tell you both enjoy it because you're both passionate and you can hear it in your voices when you're doing it. And can I suggest one thing to you? Sorry, everyone's a program director around here. Do more of the one-on-ones.
Yeah?
Yeah, because you actually have a lot to say and your opinions and your position is very, very good. And I think your audiences would probably appreciate it just as much because I love your guests that you have on. They're all wonderful and your perspective on it. But I think I'd like to hear more from both of you on your thoughts and views and anything that's happening around because it's they are here almost just to be listening over the shoulder of someone else, you two having a chat.
Yeah.
That's what it sort of feels like with our podcast. Is it's, you know, a good podcast sounds like you're just listening into someone having a chat at a cafe.
Yes, I agree. Maybe we should do like one a month or two, or, you know, every like 4 or 5 weeks or something. That's like our little, hey guys, we're here.
Yeah, totally. Like we said earlier, your listeners have been with you on this journey and they're slowly getting to know you. And the way to now amplify that is to give them even more knowledge about you. So they suddenly become Carl and Carla experts and they just want to tell everybody else about these two. And at the end of the day, they will listen to any guest. The quality of your guest will start to matter less and less and less because they will be there to hear what you guys do with that guest.
There we go.
Oh, there you go. There's a little lesson from us. One that you didn't ask for, and we
Thanks,
gave it to you
I
anyway.
I loved it. That's a compliment.
Thanks, experts.
Thank you. It is a compliment because it's actually what you guys do really well, and I really enjoy it.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, if people want to get in contact with you both, how do they do that?
Well, just through our Instagram, C-word podcast, or the C-word _ podcast.
Yep. Or separately.
Yep. Carl _ O'Connell on Instagram.
Yep.
Carla Thomas _ Juicy Movement.
Juicy
on
Movement.
Instagram.
Juicy
You got a
movement.
juicy movement going?
Yeah, I do.
What's
Got a
that?
lot
That's
of
the juice.
No.
Give it a plug.
Juicy Movement's just my brand sort of name, and everything falls underneath that. So that's kind of where my coaching and all that side kind of comes in. So it's a bit of wordplay, you know, juicy, juice fruits.
You
healthy,
guys
but
like to play a little bit of wordplay here, don't you?
I like it.
I hope you're not playing that one on Twitter because that drives me insane, that wordplay game.
Oh, Wordle.
Oh,
I don't
Wordle.
understand that yet.
Neither do
I
I.
don't have Twitter.
No, I
good.
barely go on Twitter anymore. I don't get it.
Carla,
anymore.
good luck with 2022 in the media. Cal,
you.
pull your finger out, brother, because you need to get in the media as
know.
well. You know, it's not just all Carla's show here. You've got a place to play.
Mate, she's gutted about the pulse, though.
Oh, look, it may or may not come back. I don't know. Channel 9 executives actually listen to this, so we've got to be quite...
They could create a whole new segment just based around me and Carl because they've heard us now and they're like, oh my God, we know what we're doing.
Well, you've both been submitted as experts anyway in their new format, so you're in amongst the group.
In the mix.
Hey, well, another
it
good
is.
one. The C-word podcast. Look it up. Have a listen to these two. They're very good. And particularly if you're looking to start your own podcast, get a bit of a sense of feel how these two do it because they've put it together beautifully. And the fact that they've put it up to 87 episodes.
Amazing.
Did you know 50% of episodes of podcasts don't make it to number 7?
Yep.
And then 50% don't make it to number 14.
Well, there you go.
So you're killing it on the percentages.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Then
Really
20
appreciate
years, we're still sitting.
We'll be back in here again, episode 99.
All right, Zimmer frame and all. Hey, well done. Thanks, Carms. Another good podcast.
Had a great time. Can't wait to see who we hold hostage in the studio and give advice to next week.
Oh, gee, we were a little bit overboard there, weren't we? Oh, God.
No one asked.
Oh, yeah, they didn't. Hey, have a great week. We'll see you next
You
week.
too.
You've been listening to the Experts Podcast, powered by Media Stable. If you'd like to get in contact with the team, head to mediastable.com.au.